Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, the 7th of September, 2022, and it is really early in the morning. That's why the lights are on, and my dogs are still sleeping. But even now, though, Taggart Destruction Company is what I call them, not construction. Taggart Destruction Company is out again, so it doesn't matter how early I get up. If I want even just like a little bit of lighting, I do have to wait until at least 7 a.m. And the irony is that the people that at the offices that I try to call to discuss like all the destruction that they've done regarding the heritage sites, they only show up to work like a couple of days a week, and it's from like 8:30, 9 o'clock until like 2, 3 in the afternoon, because I have called and tried leaving messages and everything, and it's been so hard to reach them. And when I finally do, they're very rude and dismissive, and don't ever follow up. And so they're employees that are disrupting the lives of thousands of people in the area. Like, it's 7 days a week from 7 a.m. till 7 p.m. And so just the audacity that they're not having the same hours for us when through this pandemic, especially because of how awful our government managed the pandemic with the lockdowns and mandates and stuff like that. Despite all the data that I've shared through emails, through phone calls, through meetings, through so many different means, and still not responding back. Sorry about that.
I know, it's a little blurry. It's okay. This is their first day of grade 2 in River.
Yeah, I'm not going to stop the video for that, but anyway. Yes, I have not replied back. So yesterday, for example, I tried to do some follow-up with Public Health Ontario and Public Health Ottawa, and so I phoned them because I sent emails. Again, it has multiple links to science, research papers, to medical data, to government data and leaks and memorandums and stuff like that from like so many different countries, from uncensored browsers, from experts in the field, right? And so still not being responded to. And so for me, obviously, like, that's the biggest thing that we should be addressing right now, like in the world, but especially in Canada, right? This is like the biggest thing like that's been going on for 2.5 years. And so yes, when I tried to call to follow up, I was very polite, and I was speaking with a woman named Tammy, and as soon as I said hello, my name is Dawn, it was I said, I just want to follow up because for the last 2.5 years I have been sending emails, and I gave the email address to do the follow up. And I said I also attached multiple documents to scientific, medical, and as soon as I said that, she hung up on me. And I had actually waited a long time in order to be seen or whatever like that, the virtual phone meeting, whatever you want to call it. And my money, my taxpayers' money, going to her salary. So I'm going to be calling back again today to file a complaint about that, because again, it wasted my time, and I had significant data to give, and it was completely dismissed because someone was just so emotionally weak that they were not able to even listen to a polite conversation. And I did record it, and today when I do it again, I'm gonna definitely record it, and I'll share it, because when I did call back, I did speak with another lady, and she did give me her full name, and she was very polite, and so yeah, and so I gave her the information, the details. She said that she was going to email her management. That's usually always what they say, and her supervisors, and always seem like a little bit confused, and there always seems to be like an aha moment when people actually do listen to me on the phone when I discuss these mandates and these therapeutics that we were using, and the data that I provided, right? So I just wish that they wouldn't just leave it at that, and they actually would follow up. And so like even online, I'm getting I always get attacked, right? But I have a chiro, and it's not to dismiss anything, but when I have more degrees than him, and more life experience, and more war experience, and more political experience, and more health experience, and not to dismiss that trait or anything like that, but just he's insulting me. I was providing links to, again, the medical, governmental, scientific research studies, and the memorandums from multiple levels of government, all this stuff I'm giving, and instead of even giving a rebuttal that makes any sense, or even providing any research papers. Like not even one link to one paper did he give, or cite, or give a name of someone that I could like follow up and look at their research. Like nothing. It was just basically just like being in elementary school, like he was like name calling, and like that's what I get all the time. Like, and it's like, are you actually a professional? Because like he actually works for like a school as a chiro, and on his social media, like I'm a troll, so I can't talk, right? But I'm not working like in an institution right now where like my like where my feedback and my input matters, and can impact or influence others' decisions, when what he is saying and how he is saying it is actually just like continuing this misinformation that's harming everyone, right? And the links that I shared too, it discusses therapeutics being host and ingredient dependent, and how we have to be like healthy in our own lives and make lifestyle changes, if we want to have like better outcomes when we have diseases or injuries, right? That these are just like these facts, they're facts. And I shared the data on the original trial has been debunked yet again, about the fact that there was waning immunity, that they changed like the definition of what a vaccine was, and that the mRNA therapeutics that were out, like it's been over a decade, and the trials that I shared, it had significant side effects that caused harm and death. And heart-related issues, obviously, between the 2 to 5 year period after the being injected, and not aspirating needles. So even the delivery mechanism being incorrect, because there's a difference between intramuscular versus intravenously, versus subcutaneously, versus like all these things, and they were not supposed to ever cross that barrier. And then we're seeing all of these like SADs, right? And we have SIDS. Again, these are all correlated to therapeutics and mass inoculations with things that are causing harm. And yeah, and as I've said before, I have multiple vaccines. You should see my immunization booklet, because of 15 years as an infantry officer, and then doing work with Naked and Afraid and the Discovery Channel for the primitive survival stuff, and but these were my choices, right? But when you force these therapeutics on the entire population, including people that are not able to properly make decisions for themselves, or provide informed consent, then I have issues with that, right? This transcends my own my own health and my own ego and all that other stuff. And this is what I mean. And this guy, this Cairo, I forget what his name is too, but all he's doing was insulting me, and he's older than me and stuff like that too. And I'm like, cool. But it was because of Chrystia Freeland. He's defending Chrystia Freeland, and I'm trying to give him emails that I've sent to her too, saying this is the person you're defending right now. She's had access to all this information as well, because here's the emails and the read receipts. And I'm and she hasn't responded back. So cool. And this is what I mean by the infighting too, right? They don't even have to do anything, because we're all just fighting each other because of lies, and he would rather let his ego remain intact than be proven wrong, right? And so he would rather people die, kids die, and elderly die, instead of being proven wrong. And to me, that's terrifying, right? And this is all levels of government too. And then these are all these different heads of departments and these panels and stuff like that, where it's at a dangerous level, where the unwillingness to realize that you need to be flexible and adapt to ever-changing situations, and admit when you are wrong, and then readjust, the whole plan, and reassess. And it's important, especially when new information is provided to you by reliable sources. And I'm just looking at my whiteboard again, because my YouTube account, my other one, was removed by YouTube 2 days ago now, and I had a lot of content on it that I don't know, that I think might matter. And so even with blood, if you have different blood types, different viruses and diseases and therapeutics actually will impact you differently. And if you are Rh negative, you don't even build up the antibodies for virus and disease. So we really do need to consider that. Even my family doctor, I'm do you know my blood type? No. I'm okay, so then why are you trying to force this vaccine, this therapeutic on me, when you don't even know if it's something that is going to, when you don't even know if my body even has the ability to build up an antibody or a response to that therapeutic, whatever it is that you're putting in my body, right? And even with different diseases, like I've said, like different blood groups are impacted differently, and there are biolabs in so many different areas of the world, and including Antarctica, where genetic editing and engineering and human experimentation has been done for many, many, many years, cycles, resets, whatever you want to call it. And that's why they're controlled, and we're not able to have access to these areas. And so, like churches, mosques, temples, schools, banks, hospitals, these are all like at the higher ends, controlled by the same people that know about again, these like resets or whatever you want to call it that happen, or these natural and man-made disasters that impact like large areas and have throughout the world for again, like since this Earth plane was created. But even Bell, CNN, Fox, Disney, I've talked about NASA before too, but World Health Organization, these are all again at the higher end, designed to mislead us and divide us, and reinforce this globe Earth model and the theory of evolution, and atheism, and so many different sinister kind of agendas that keep us stuck, that make them believe that we deserve what we're experiencing and how we're experiencing it, and then just allows them to just keep benefiting and duping us. And there's so many different like temples and monuments and runes and places that you can go and just really try to like see for yourself, right? And like even like with Taggart Construction Company, like I would be really interested to seeing seeing like what has been underground, like with after all their explosions, and if they've ever found any old like buildings or roads, because like I have, without even exploding areas, right? And so like I'm just I'm wondering just how much they know, or how much they cover up, and these heritage buildings too, they're made of stone, and I'm just wondering how they're going to remove them. To me, it's a shame. There's Taggart Destruction Company. There were thousands of trees in this area too. You can't really see it from there, but like all in the back, there's acres. There were old, huge trees that could have given us the ability to properly date the area and the buildings and the bedrock, whatever that was in place. Either old roads that were covered over by mud floods, or other things. But yeah, there's so many areas in the world too, where you can see that like there have been like intentional government intervention in order to try to cover up and blow up so many different structures, I would say, that would make us question our ancient history and theory of evolution and all that stuff, like I've been saying so much. Yeah, so I was gonna go with that. Like even with the media, political parties, like left and right, it's all part of the same bird. I've said that. And even with these resets, there's a lot of heavy symbolism regarding phoenixes and eagles. And apparently the eagle in the U.S., the symbol used to be a phoenix, but they changed it after the last reset, which apparently was in 1902. And I know how this sounds, but yeah, it just seems to be like when you look at the chronology of history, it just seems to make sense that by 2040 there may or may not be this other reset. That's not like it's not a world ender or anything like that, but it could, like I don't know, cause like destruction in certain areas, and so you just probably just wouldn't want to be in those areas. I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't want to be. And if we knew better, we would do better. So like I even know friends that are astronauts. And I'm trying to give them information about like the moon, about how we have not gone there yet, how it's been admitted by cosmonauts, astronauts, astrophysicists, PhDs, and beyond, and that even like the Van Allen belt, like this radiation belt, like people have even said that they have not been able to cross it or pass it, and there's been just so many errors with like these space missions, right, when we're seeing like the air bubbles and the water bubbles, or even with the sponge, and like when they put it in with the straw, like it's to like try to get rid of like the air bubbles, you know, but like sometimes like they don't catch them all, and they can't edit them all, and I know how this sounds, but this is true. And I do think that where we see the sun and the moon right now, like I think that they're being reflected or projected into those areas, but they are rotating in this kind of like yin and yang, Pisces 6-9, 9-6, whatever, like rotation, and it just makes sense to me. And but there is some kind of like a three, like a multidimensional object, or a few, that are, again, like closer to the center of the world, that are rotating and then reflecting on these areas. Apparently, as well too, that even with the North Pole, Middle Earth, there's like even with the cross, there's associations with like these like continents or islands within the Middle Earth where you have like, it's like that looks like a cross, and I guess that's why they represent that in so many different cultures and religions. So these planned, so even in the early 1900s, in all of Europe, socialism was getting to be more popular, and even Adolf Hitler in the 1920s, he was a socialist. And then even in the 1900s, like 1920s and 30s and 40s, the remainder of Europe, so like Poland and Hungary and the Ukraine and Austria and all these different areas surrounding Germany, they were communist socialist parties. And I've done significant amounts of research on this because of like my obsession with political science, and in international relations, and how it impacts us, and how, you know, different geographic locations are also like very heavily influenced by like how our political platforms are established, and things like that. But where was I going with that tangent? Political parties, Europe. And so like where most of the people that were getting segregated and isolated from society for decades, and ostracized and vilified and put in these camps, or had to hide and move to other areas in order to be safe, then it was in these like socialist communist countries. And so there's a lot of blame being put on one country when it was an entire, like when it was Europe, like as a whole. And even the Volkswagen symbol, like when you like rotate it like fast, it looks like the that sign that I don't want to get this video removed, so I'll just like do that sign. That is a symbol for hatred, but it's also a symbol for like love and luck and power, right? So it depends on where you are in the world. It seems to be that there are like it's always going to be the case. So you heard it say yin and yang, positive and negative. There's always going to be, like, when you see something that means something in one area, it's always going to mean the opposite in another area. Like, it's as above, so below. And it's intentional as well, and that also keeps us stuck and divided, especially when just like even like just seeing these symbols, you know, it just elicits such a strong emotional response. Like this Tammy person from Public Health Ottawa that my money is paying for, and I'm relying on her to make decisions that are good decisions, that help me and the people that I care about, right? Because again, I've been to war, and still, like, I've done like executive protection work for the governor and senior deputy governor of the Bank of Canada. I've done it for Justin Trudeau. I've done it for the like the head of the Eagles. I've done it for like so many, you name it, right? And it's because I'm also a person of service, and I do think that we need to have more peace in the world, and so, like, I practice what I preach, and I do lead from the front, right? So when there's like really high risk kind of periods of time where I know that like there could be a little bit more like risk for people within Canada, like our leadership or things like that, I actually do volunteer, and I go into my networks and I say, like, hey, like, I know it's gonna be a bit sketch, you know what I mean? But like, I'm single and I don't have kids, so, you know, I'm more expendable, you know, right? And I do have a lot of training and things like that as well. So, but because if people are willing to do the right thing for Canada, then I would be especially like willing, obviously, to assist with like the security or the executive protection or whatever you want to call it, and do that because again, I also instruct hostile environment awareness training and standing rapid deployment team training to niche levels of government, in order to deploy effectively to multiple different areas with multiple different conditions. And yeah, until these mandates lift, and and we are back, you know, like there's some kind of normalcy, then it's gonna be these videos, I guess, and which is a little frustrating because there's more stuff going on about EMPs, electromagnetic pulses, and training being done with electricity and magnets. And people from my old videos, I did discuss that a bit with how this they do impact. They heavily impact us, obviously, like our brains, our bodies, but they also impact the world as a whole. And if this is some kind of simulation, then these pulses, or these frequencies, or vibrations, or waves, or lights, like photons, whatever you want to call it, they this is part of the operating system, like the hard drive, or the brain, or whatever, I don't know what you want to call it, or the mind of this hologram. So I really don't want to mess with that. In my previous videos that I still have to upload to this platform, I was discussing, even like last year, about the fact that by this fall, not ideal, but how there would be possible like gas and oil shortages intentionally, like it's by design, which would be even more significant because like the fall, like especially in some places in Europe and in Canada, it's like extremely cold climates, and so there would have to be like other ways of heating up our homes, and giving us like other means of transportation during, like, again, like really snowy times as well. And so again, it is what it is. It's all interesting. Food shortages as well, because of what's been going on with the farmers, what's been going on with shipments, whether it be by land, air, or sea, or train. Well, that's land. But by road, I guess, land, sea, train. And like even like getting stuck, but taking weeks, if not months, for cargo containers and shipments to arrive at ports, and then being there for, yeah, and then things getting spoiled and not being able to be used anyways. And there's been significant increases in food and gas here in Canada, and I suspect that because of how we've been managing the economy, and how we've been in like a recession, you know, and not managing our finances properly. It's no surprise, though. It's so our deputy prime minister is also the finance minister, and Chrystia Freeland, and so like it's not a surprise to me that she's not only crushing our country like in so many different ways, but she's also the one clearly that's managing the budget that is also like the worst management of the budget like in the history of Canada. It is the worst. And people could say what they want. Like, I'm not saying, I don't know if I'm right or not. Like, I'm not like I talk passionately because I'm French Canadian, but I have even Jim Flaherty and Jacques Chrétien, when they were finance ministers, I was that nerd. Like, even in my early 20s, was emailing them about their economic policies and the budget management, and trying to give, you know, like some input, you know what I mean, and advice on just different ways that we can like be more comparative to the other OEDP countries, and yeah, they never respond back either. So it's just really interesting that again, it's ego, because no matter how much science and medical and governmental data I've given to people, or even discussed, it's just like it goes nowhere, right? And it's because they're like, I don't care, because you know what, I have the majority on my side, and that's what you don't have. And everyone thinks that I'm right, and they think that you're wrong, so I'm the winner. And it's just like okay, this has been like the struggle throughout history when people are trying to speak out on things. It's always like it eventually comes out when it's too late, right? When people can't be held accountable. And so with Wayne Eyre, our chief of defense staff, I think that he's a criminal. I've personally given him memorandums, to give him, well, indirectly, through email, so that's direct enough, but also through his soldiers that he was that are now being released under 5F, right? So like, even though this is like not technically considered a dishonorable discharge, there are people that were released or threatened to be released under a what they consider to be like a not a medical release, but like an amoral release, because they didn't take the therapeutic that is still in emergency use authorization, and which in my humble opinion should not ever be approved, because this has been there's been trials being done for over a decade, and they are not good results. They are not good results, and there have been so many different treatments that people could have easily done even at home that would have mitigated any form of like significant adverse reaction to this virus, this leaked gain of function virus that was released and planned like to be like at a certain time, and why they called it 19 instead of 20, and it's all just interesting stuff. So yeah, through the fall, and then like these possible. No, I'm gonna leave that because I already talked about that in the other video. Let me see here. You know what? I think on that note, oh yeah, there's a guy, John Levy, Jonlevi on YouTube. I failed to mention him yesterday, but he also shows a lot of significant, great videos on the old world, and its comparison to the new world, and how the new world, so many different areas, how they've tried to cover up the old world. And so I would highly recommend taking a look at him and seeing for yourself. So on that note, I hope that everyone has a wonderful day.